Okay.
And also like for the whole workshop, actually we also have the link and have 35 people extra beside that also register. But right now we have like 16 participants for now.
Okay.
So still coming, yeah.
Yeah, so probably the first part maybe will be the slides, and then just kind of general remix discussion, and then either I will kind of either go through some of the tutorials inside of Remix that talk about the Solidity tutorials, or I will go through this kind of recipe.
Okay. So the first
and then people can follow along.
Yeah. So the first part is just like introduce about Remix. Second is like update about Remix, and third is like tutorial.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what time is it for you now?
It's 11 almost at night.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for staying up late.
Yeah, sure.
on a Saturday night, right? For you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just came back from New York where I gave a presentation there too, but so some of it, and it's and some of these, like that presentation in New York is very similar to what we're giving in DevCon. And we're also giving a workshop in DevCon, which is going to be in Spanish, somewhat similar to this, but
Spanish? I will be there, but I don't understand Spanish.
Me neither.
So hope to see you in person in Bogota next week.
Yeah, let's plan it.
Yeah.
Also, we're having a meeting of Ethereum educators too, so please come to that
great.
as well.
Yeah. Yes, please let me know. So we also like see like how we can do like workshop and support the community in Vietnam and do different like bigger group education.
Yeah.
Cool. How long you stay there?
Till I guess basically a week or 8 days.
Okay.
I get there Sunday night and leave on Monday night the following week.
Yeah.
And you?
I fly from the 5th, because like for me like 30-hour flight.
Yeah.
And then I bet that I got at least like 2-day jet lag, so I just fly a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Then I will fly back on the 16th. Yeah.
Oh, sounds good. Well, my yoga teacher one time said headstands are good for a long airplane ride.
Yeah.
I did it once on the airplane.
Oh, really?
It was incredible. All the blood left my feet.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, 30 hours is like really, really long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that we're gonna start soon in 2 minutes.
Okay, let me just drop it. I'll collect this one. This one. Oh, look at that one. Oh. I think I'm gonna leave it up.
Thôi chắc là I will start to introduce Mr.Rob first, and then I will give back the stage to Mr.Rob, and he will run through the whole workshop.
Should I stop sharing my screen now before for the beginning?
Please. Yes, please. Okay, it's 10. Shall we start?
Good for me.
Yeah. Let me Em nói khi nào là chị bắt đầu có thể start được nha.
Dạ, bắt đầu được rồi chị.
Okay.
Dạ.
Hi everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the workshop, a pre-event workshop with View on Ethereum for ETHVIETNAM. Thank you for your time today in the morning set today, and also like thank you, Rob, for I know that it's very late for you now. It's like 11 a.m. And really we really appreciate for your time. So in order like to start our workshop today, maybe like let me just like remind all of you for a while. So we're gonna have workshop for about like 2 hours from 10 to 12, or maybe a bit shorter also, because I know that also very late for Rob. And also second, that during the workshop, maybe like please trying to turn up the phone, or if you have any question, you also like can raise your hand, or also like can chat in the group chat here on the right hand corner of the room. And for everyone who watching the live stream on YouTube or on Facebook, you also like can ask the question there, and we also have the assistant to raise the question. Okay, so let's start the workshop. Let me introduce first our mentor for today, Mr. Rob Stupay. He's from Ethereum Foundation, and today the workshop, Rob will go through 3 parts. Number 1, introduce about Remix. Second, update what is new for Remix, and the third is like our tutorial with all of you and guide you to do on Remix. So welcome, Mr. Rob Stupay.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So as I'm going through, if for some reason I'm talking too quickly or something's not clear, please interrupt or raise your hand, and we can, have this as the first part's a slideshow, but you can interrupt me with questions. And with that, maybe I'll take it away and go to the slideshow.
Yes, I think that like everyone like also like typing on the chat, that's great, and they can hear you as well. Also, that's great.
Okay, great. And if during the slideshow I don't see people's hands because of my screen is full screen here, just to, maybe you guys can interrupt me.
Okay.
Let's see. Where's the beginning of the slideshow?
So for any one of you like have any question, just like yeah, this is talk. Maybe it's easier.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the intro to Remix. So we're going to go through about 8 parts of the Remix. And so first and most important part is learning the layout, just so that the vocabulary I'm using when I'm describing it, and in our documentation, it's the same vocabulary. Like the icon panel is over here, and this is the side panel, and this is the home tab, and these are the tabs, the file tabs. This is the terminal, and down here is where you can type in the console. And then these icons are also very important. These are this is the plugin manager, and that's settings. And so these are always up. And in Remix, everything's a plugin. So you need to know about the plugin manager. So you can like if you want to activate a plugin, you can go to the featured plugin over here, but generally you go to the plugin manager, and you can search a plugin, you can browse all the plugins. Where there's a checkbox, it's a plugin that Remix manages and manages the code base, and where it's not, it's there are not too many people that are making plugins, but different projects make plugins for themselves for Remix, and we are slowly bringing some of these into our repo, but some are staying externally managed. And what else here? So you always have to go back into the plugin manager to to turn things off and on. And when you click up here, this caret, it opens up this little panel. And if you want to go to the documentation about a plugin, you click that book over there. And then, so all the documentation should be pretty easily available. And just so you know, like we have the read the docs documentation. That's what this would link to. And then we also have some articles in our Medium blog. And then we have in our Twitter feed has a lot of like, did you know tweets. We usually do a couple of those a week. So, you know, you can stay up to date on the remix tips. So when you choose a file, you usually start with the default workspaces. So there's workspaces, and then there's files. And if you add a new workspace, you get a whole new set of files to add. And this one is using a default workspace, but I'll show you in a minute. There's a whole bunch of new templates coming. Some are already in Remix, and some are going to be in there on tomorrow or the next day when the next release happens. But anyway, so these top icons are for workspace, and including this one, which is for cloning a Git repo, and that will bring in a repo into Remix as a workspace. And the ones down here, it's for adding a folder of files, or uploading a gist, or uploading a file to this workspace. And if you choose a template, you can get, well, you can use a blank template, a default template for each workspace, or Open Zeppelin templates for tokens, or a 0x project ERC20 template. You can also use this Open Zeppelin wizard, which you should also check out because it's a great tool, which we're kind of bringing that into Remix, but it's nice, the interface that they have as well. And then there's a button that says Open in Remix. In fact, I think I'll just click on it now. So like you could, you know, just adds another file to import here. And then you can name your token here. And then you can click Open in Remix. And it'll open that file in a workspace called code sample. Oops. Called code sample. And I guess I've all imported other files from there before, so there's a bunch of other files there. Here, I'll go back to slideshow. Where is somewhere over here? Maybe I have to restart it up again. Okay. Yeah. I guess we're going to go like this. And then, so you got the file here, and then you want to compile it. So compiling is done in the Solidity compiler. But actually, also just a sort of quick little shortcut here, flipping back to the beginning, is if you click over here, the Solidity plugin, it loads about 4 or 5 plugins, including the Solidity compiler, but also static analysis and unit testing. But anyway, so just so you know. What do we got? Yeah, so this is when you select a file, this is the active file in the editor. As you see, it's a little bit brighter here than the Home tab. And then you can click over here to compile. But there's a shortcut, which is Control S will compile. And you can also right-click in the File Explorer to compile. There's a whole bunch of, it's a context menu that comes up, so you can do some file management and also a different kind of compilation, as well as to flatten. So yeah, that's the compile shortcut. So deploying, you go to the, that's the deploy and run. icon here. And also, when you have a successful compilation, you get this little green check mark. And if you have some warnings, you'll get some warnings or errors there. When they come up, you can click on they'll appear, and you can click on the warning. They would appear in the Solidity compiler, not in deploy and run. So anyway, keep going on tangents. But so you got the environment, which is the chain you wanted to deploy to. And then let's see, you got the account selector here, and you can, if you want to sign a message here, like to mimic a DApp, you would click this little icon. So there are a few little icons here. This is to copy your address. And like if you're using the JavaScript, the Remix VM, there's going to be 10 accounts, each with 100 Ether in it. And then this is where you set the gas. And the value is that if you're sending value to a transaction, it's not that intuitive because, well, I'll show you in a minute why that's not that intuitive. But anyway, so here's the accounts in the JavaScript VM. And the cool thing about JavaScript VM is that it's not a public network. But of course, if you refresh the browser, everything gets lost. So it's important to know, that this is a temporary blockchain. You also don't need to approve any transactions. So it's good for testing and trying stuff out. If you click on the environment over here, you get this big list. Now injected provider is basically a public blockchain, and you usually use MetaMask. But if you have another kind of injected provider, then the name of that would come up over here. If you're using like a hard hat or Ganache chain, local chain, or a Foundry chain, you can deploy to any of those. And if your wallet connector is a plugin, and you can then use that to approve a transaction on your phone. So it's also like useful for mimicking how your users of your DApp users are going to be using it. External provider is if you have a local node running. So it could include any of these, but if you have Geth running locally, you could use that. And then we have a couple of L2s here, and it kind of pre-configures MetaMask to deploy to these. So you click deploy. After your file is compiled, you have to have the right, like if you have a contract with multiple imports, or the two contracts in the same file, it will say like what's the name of the contract and what file it's coming from. And it should be the correct one, but you do have to make sure that you're going to be deploying the correct file. And then, you click deploy, and then you get in the console, in the terminal, you get this comes up. So you could go debug this transaction from here, and that will launch the debugger. But before you do that, you'll get the transaction receipt, and you could expand this to see more of the transaction receipt. Whoops. And here's the deployed instance. And then when you open that up, this is like you're opening that up over here. You get the different, you get the list of all the functions in your contract. Let's see. So also, and the balance of your contract. And so basically, like a blue button means that it's just looking up function. So it's a pure or view function. A red function means that you're sending value. It's a payable function. So you're sending value, not gas, but value. And that's where you'd set the value further up on the deploy and run plugin. But an orange one means that it will cost you because it's saving to the blockchain, but it's not a payable function. It's a little confusing, that terminology, because you have to pay for it, but that's gas. It's not, you're not paying, you're not sending ETH or GUI or way to the contract. And if you open up any of these functions, then you can see each of the individual parameters for the function. And you can see what the units are. So if you have a function with a lot of parameters, it's really helpful just to open that up. And then you either hit transact, or if you have it here just as a comma delineated list, then you just click one of these buttons with your parameters here, and then it will run the transaction. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, sending value when you have a payable function. So you got to set the value and the value and the type. So you can pull that down. It could be Gwei or Wei. And you can also interact with the deployed contract, which is great because, I mean, of course, it's free to interact with it or just to bring it in. But to do that, and that's with the add address. I guess, let's see. Yeah, add address is right over here. So as opposed to deploying, you're going to just access it, and it's going to pull in the deployed instance into Remix. But to do that, you need to have the ABI or a compiled version of the source code, but with the same compilation settings. So it's a little bit confusing because you need to have the ABI or the source code. So it's important. And you can get the compilation, the ABI over here in the if it's your contract. But if it's like a verified contract and you go to Etherscan, you should be able to get the ABI. And here, this is in the Solidity compiler in Remix, but after you have a successful compilation, you can get the ABI, you can open up the compilation details and see all the metadata of the contract. Yeah, so that's the part about going to the etherscan.io contracts verified to see all of that. Yeah, that's where to copy. When you get the deployed instance, you can copy the address. And then you put the address here. And then once you put the address in there of a contract, and you should be able to, this will become activated, that button, and then you could click it, and then it will bring in the deployed instance. So you can check, this is a verified contract test to see how it works. And so so we got the ABI from Etherscan, and then stuck the add address over here, and then it asks you if you really want to bring this in. Do you really want to interact with it? And then you get this huge list. I mean, I just went to Etherscan and I grabbed one, so it was just to see, that it would work. And then, as a result, it's like this huge, confusing list of functions. But that's the you can get the source code and from a verified contract, and then just start playing with it to understand what's going on here. And also, like when it's your contract, that's what your front end is going to be organizing. So here's a quick little thing is when you go to settings, this is the dark theme, but you could also, there's a bunch of other themes. So it's important to know if you get sick of looking at the dark theme, which is kind of the default one, you can go to the light one, which is the other one that we maintain at Remix. These other ones are, this was just brought in by a contributor, and we've chosen these that they work with our color schemes, and we kind of adjust them slightly, but we really are much more keeping up with dark and light theme. So here's this Learneth, which is our tutorial tool. you can activate it from the Home tab, or you can just go to the plugin manager to activate it. And then there's a couple of really good courses here. And there's the Solidity Beginner course, which is using this website called Solidity by Example. They're examples and going through an intro course of Solidity using that website, so that there's kind of links to the videos that are on that website. And yeah. So when you're in a Learn It tutorial, you know, you get an example file. It gives you some instructions, and then as you scroll down in the side panel, there's a little there's an assignment, and there's often a quiz, and it will check your answer, or if you don't know, you can see the answer, and kind of like going through by trying it out, and then you can. But the cool thing about this tutorial is that you have it in Remix, so you can play with it. You can debug a contract and use all of Remix's tools, and kind of, you know, veer away from the Learn It tutorial just to start playing with the contract yourself. There's also let's going back a little bit. I don't know. Is it over here? Well, anyway, yeah, there's a Solidity ERC. There's some token courses, and there's auction contract course that kind of goes through that. And here's some important tips about using Remix safely. And we've had some issues because since Remix is the tool that almost everyone starts out with, it's, you know, and so it's a big community of new users who are trying to get used to Solidity or unlearn Solidity. So sometimes you'll see some YouTube that are saying like, okay, copy this code and deploy it to mainnet or to some mainnet with some using real Ether, and people can get scammed that way. So it's important to both know Solidity, and it's dangerous to send transactions on contracts you don't understand. I mean, especially if you're doing this with real Ether and not like a testnet. So you know, there are a lot of get-rich-quick schemes that are really scams, obviously, but just be careful. And just check that you're loading Remix over HTTPS. The only reason to use HTTP is if you're connecting to like a local version of Geth. Then you would use HTTP, but almost for every other reason, you'd be using Remix over HTTPS. And make sure on your imports, you're including the version number. Like, don't do it like this. Make it like this. You got to have the version number here. Whoops, I tried something, didn't work. Oh, yeah. So that's make sure you get the version number, because you don't know what version you're gonna get otherwise, and your builds won't be reproducible, and they need to be. Wait a minute. I guess that's it. Oh yeah, learn Solidity, and we have a few more little items on the security page of our documentation. And that's it for this one. Okay, so then does anyone have any questions? Wait a minute, we gotta go over here. No questions? Oops, I probably shouldn't share and, okay. Well, if no questions.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
Stephen, he also asked for the slide after the workshop. Can we have?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The slide. You mean the
Yes, the one that using. So we can send through the email to everyone.
Oh, you mean the
intro remix slides, the one.
Oh,
that
this whole.
Yeah.
This okay.
So is there any question so far, guys? Okay, I don't think that like we have any question for now yet.
Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that it's anyone with a link. Okay.
So right now I have 25 people like joining the class.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the link to the presentation.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And yeah, okay. What else? Okay, so then we'll go on to the next one, which starts up here. Wait, am I still showing my screen?
Yes, please. Still
It
can.
is?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Slideshow. So some of this includes some elements that are coming out Monday or Tuesday, I think, in our next release, but I'll let you know what they are. So we're going to go over cloning and dgit from the File Explorer, editor updates, proxy contracts, new templates, compile and run, and a bunch of remix funsies. So cloning a repo in dgit and then managing it in, cloning a Git repo and then managing it in dgit. But I think this is important part before we start is with Remix, you have to know where your files are saved because it's not a Google Doc. So there's no Remix server that's saving your work. It's everything that's getting saved is happening in the browser, in browser storage. So if you get a bad crash on the browser, you can lose your work. And people do lose their work. So either the way to get around that is to use RemixD, which is a NPM package. And if you have that running locally, then you can share a folder on your hard drive with Remix. So it's saving things to your hard drive. Then if the browser crashes, you don't care because it's in the files are in your hard drive. But you could also push it to a Git repo, and that's good. Then you can work collaboratively, just like you would in any other, with any other file, with any, with your normal workflow. So you have to know where you're saving your work. So that's why we're trying to make it easier and easier to be able to clone repos, but also to manage repos with Git. So that's this kind of innocuous looking icon over here is to clone a repo. And when you click that, you get a modal that comes up. By the way, that's the light theme. I think I switched back and forth between the light and the dark theme in this presentation. But so you put in the address of your repo, and then it makes a workspace, with the name of your Git repo. You can also edit this name if you don't like the name. But anyway, it pulls all the files in here. And then if you click this, you'll see all the other repos, all the other workspaces you've got here. And some of these workspaces in this example have the Git logo here. So these have Git version control on them. So dgit's been around a while with Remix, but I don't think it's that well used. And that's a shame because it's quite a powerful tool. So like you got your your Git repo here, like your workspace that has Git attached to it, and then you go to dgit. Dgit's for decentralized Git. And then with this one, you can use your normal Git commands. You can also push to IPFS and put a repo there. You can, I think it's usually to a Pinata on IPFS, and there, or you can make a local Git repo. We now have this GitHub action for unit testing. So that means, on GitHub, if you make a YAML file like this one in the .github workflows directory, then you can, every time you push to the repo, it's going to run these Solidity tests. And so the Solidity tests that you put up there are going to be in this folder, but you can change the path. You could also put a path to a specific test file. So actually, I think I'm going to just come over here because there's a there's a link to the I just wrote a Medium article about it, which is right over here, I think. Yeah. So we have so if you want to know more about this, come to our Medium publication, which is medium.com/remixide. I'll give you the link at the end also, and then you can. This is the latest article there. Okay. So editor updates. So we've got autocomplete come here now. So it means that first you need to have a successful compilation to get all the features to work. And it means that there's autocompile is basically going on in the background every second or so. But it means now that like if you type, like in this case, AD, then you'll get some autocomplete happening. And I'm a bad speller, and so it will reduce the amount. It reduces the amount of spelling mistakes I make when I'm typing in Solidity. And coming in a couple days or so is on imports. When you type import, with the double quotes, it'll be showing all the statements, all the contracts you've got in the file explorer, but also all the Open Zeppelin contracts and Uniswap contracts as well. So you can kind of play with those, or at least import them in a way that should be pretty simple. And now when there are errors in your file, like you put an oops here, then the file turns right over here in the file explorer and also in the tab. So it's kind of like what happens in VS Code. Gas estimates are now in line with it next to the function, which is a really fun addition. And then when you right-click over a term, you get the context menu to go to definitions or references. When you hover over a term, you'll get a pop-up as well. And you can get, like hovering over an error, which is now indicated by the squiggly lines, you'll get this pop-up that describes what the error is. And we've also added proxy contracts into Remix. So this is the kind of proxy contract that is allowed right now. I mean, not so much allowed, but we kind of foster is the ERC 1967, the UPS proxy. So now any contract that imports a ERC 1967 contract is going to get a few more checkboxes underneath the deploy button. And so if you deploy it with a proxy, I'll go over upgrade in a minute, but you're going to be making two transactions. One's for the implementation and one's for the 1967 proxy contract. So I had to read a bunch of articles about the proxy before it kind of sunk in. The word implementation always confused me. I kept thinking, anyway, the implementation is your contract you write. The ERC 1967 is just something you import. But after you get this hooked up, you go to the deployed instance of the 1967 and not the code, not your contract. You go to the 1967. So anyway, so if you do this on the Remix VM, one transaction follows the other, and it happens really quickly. But if you're on a public network, the first transaction has to go through, and then it'll ask you after it's gone through if you want to deploy the second. So you have to be a little patient with the networks. So these are the two modals that you'll get. And this is the whole issue I was talking about before, about which is the deployed, which one do you want to interact with? And you, like, this is the one that you wrote, and this is the one that kind of deploys because you're importing it. But actually, this is the one you open up. If you open them up, both up, they'll both look exactly the same. They'll have the same functions in them. But the point is, this is the contract address, and when you update it, you're updating just this one. So so when you upgrade it, you have to get the proxy address, which is this, and then or you select that if you just had upgraded, if you just deployed the contract, and then you'd be deploying your update to your last implementation. If you get some questions, ask later about this, or now if you want. Compile and run is a new. Was there someone asking, or?
Yeah, there is one question, Rob. Like,
Yeah?
from name, will Remix work on table or mobile device?
No. It has to be like a laptop or desktop.
Okay.
It's really and also it kind of, we support Firefox and Chrome and Brave. Safari's, it's we may start supporting it, but generally it's better to avoid it and to use Chrome or Firefox or Brave on a desktop or laptop.
Okay, so name, like, you got the answer, right? Thank you, Rob.
Compile and run is an interesting workflow for quickly working out problems. Because often, like, you're coding away, and then you're trying to work on some function, but to actually to test this function, you have to deploy a few contracts, and you have to set the state of a few functions, and then you can see if the line you wrote actually works. So it can be pretty tedious, and you have to remember this kind of script of things that you have to do. So what you can do is write a Ethers.js or a Web3.js script that will deploy the contract, send the transactions, and put the contract in the state you want, and then you can code and then click one button to compile and then run the script. So it's going to compile, your code, and then it's going to run the script that you set up to set the state, and then you'll find out after the state is set if it actually if your code actually works. There's a example of this in the default template in one_storage. You have to when you go there, you have to set up the custom netspec tag. And it's done in that file, so you should be able to walk through it. So there's that. This is the new templates. I think we basically went through this before, where you can see this is the default template. Oh, but this is where you initialize a new workspace as a Git repo. So whether it's the default template or any other one. Then when you click on that, you get these choices. And then now, just like the OpenZeppelin one, the OpenZeppelin wizard, you can add these imports. So yeah, we've gone through that before. RemixD is now simpler to run. So when you want to share a directory on your hard drive with Remix in a website, then you'd go here. I say Remix in a website because there's also a desktop version of Remix. There's also a VS Code extension for Remix. We have not really been supporting that so much in the past, I think 6 months or so. So, but the desktop version we do support. So anyway, if you're running RemixD, it's much easier to run because you don't need to run any flags. You just need to download the latest version from npm. You can also install Slither locally through RemixD. And now in the File Explorer, you can drag and drop files because you know, sometimes you make a new file and it's not in the folder you thought it was going to be, so you can drag them around. And now, if you get rid of all the tabs, this is where like you'd have the home tab and all the file tabs here. If you get rid of all of them, you get this screen that will show you the shortcuts. And the basic shortcuts is Control S to compile, Control Shift F to get to the File Explorer, Control Shift A to get to the Plugin Manager, and Control Shift S to get to compile and run a script. And if you are if you're Viper fans, or if you want to learn Viper more importantly, we've put a link here so you can clone the Viper Lang repo, and so then there are a lot of Viper example files that you can play around with, and it'll open up, you know, so you can get them all inside of Remix and to play with them. And if you're using Foundry, if you connect RemixD to a folder containing a Foundry project, you'll get the Foundry remappings. And this is also this one, the hard hat style console log. There's an example of this, I believe, in the to_owner file in the default contracts. And so you can you know, get a you can start console logging stuff inside of Solidity, and then it'll log it in the terminal. And so it's great for understanding what's going on in your contract. And if you've shared a file, a hard hat project via RemixD, then you can enable hard hat compilation. So then you can compile things so that hard hat can read it. So if you can basically go between Remix and hard hat. We've also renamed some labels in the environment and pre-configured some choices for deployment. So Remix VM used to be the JS VM, but we thought it was actually more appropriate to call it the Remix VM. And the injected, I think it was like, I forget the name what it was, but it was hard to find MetaMask especially if you were a beginner. And now we're grabbing the name MetaMask from the browser plugin. And if you're using another something that does something similar to MetaMask, you can use that. What else? So then, yeah, these will configure hard hat and the external. These will make it easy to set the port for hard hat, Ganache, and Foundry.
Hi Rob, there is one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Foop HQ, can I use Remix to develop smart contract for other EVM-based chain?
Yeah, I mean, if you're, let's see, right now, I guess that there's two parts of this answer. One is if you're in the debugger, yeah, maybe I'm gonna come back to the debugger. Wait, we gotta go here. Oh no, it's over here. And you have a transaction hash, and let's see. I know this will work on testnets and mainnet, and I think it will work but you have to connect the environment to the chain that you want to connect to. So you would connect it to MetaMask and then choose the chain that you want to connect to, and then it should go out and grab that contract. If it's a verified contract, then yeah, on probably some specific chains, then it will grab the source code as well. If you can get the source code, then you can debug it here. That's the other part. But if it's a verified contract, then the debugger will allow you to automatically grab it. Is that clear enough? Any follow-up questions about that? Another interesting point is if you need to, like that link, let's see, where did it go? Did I lose Remix here? Anyway, this link over here in environment will open up chain lists. So if you don't know like how to configure MetaMask for the chain you want to deploy to, then click that and you can search on chain list for your chain information. And then I think maybe even with one click, it's going to configure MetaMask. Let's see. I guess that's it for that part. Right, and that's and then if you need to, and with those two L2s that we have here, there's links to bridges so that you can convert your L1 currency to an L2. This is not a new feature, but the transaction recorder is really useful. It's you can record a bunch of transactions and it makes a JSON file, and then you can adjust the JSON file, like changing the address or changing the chain, or just send this file to somebody to get and the source code, of course, if you're looking for help from somebody, or if you have students and you want to show them a contract and show them a bunch of transactions that could happen on the contract, then you could, create this this file of the transactions, this JSON file, give them the file, and then they can run the transactions locally. It's also it's somewhat similar to compile and run. You could use it for your development process as well. And going back to verified contracts, if you take a Etherscan URL of a verified contract like this one, and just switch out Etherscan for Remix, then the Remix will open up that file in the editor. It'll go out to Etherscan, grab that verified source code, and bring it into Remix. And that is it for this part. And I think I want to get out of this screen because that hedgehog gives me the jitters at close to midnight. Okay. Any other questions for now?
So far, I don't see any other question. Hey guys, like if you have any question, you can raise your voice or you can put in the chat. So like for the last hour, we have gone through what is Remix and also like what is the update news about Remix already. And then I guess that the next part is like Rob gonna guide you with the tutorial, how to do with Remix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like until the end of the workshop, we also have the POAP NFT scanning for all the attendants for today who joined the workshop. So like so far, yeah, I don't see any other question for now.
Oh, I also wanted to do a little promo. We're always looking for user testing for each release. So if you want to help Remix with some beta tests, let's see, like we basically like I mean this is this current one, but basically like you fill out a form and you go through the issues. Okay, I can't really do it right now, but you go through this form and we kind of walk you through what we want tested, and we give you a NFT as a beta tester. We have this rewards program. They're non-transferable, but they're like a little token of appreciation. But with it, you get a chance to find out what the latest features are, and it's a good way for asking us questions about what's going on in the release, or for anything else as well. Also, we have a Getter channel, a Discord channel, and that you can ask questions on, or just send us emails as well.
Can you send the link here, please? So like after the workshop, we will send the email to everyone. Also, yeah.
Oh, the email is remix@ethereum.org.
No, I mean that the form link of the.
Oh, the form.
Yes. In the chat.
I think this one. I think it's best just to sign up on our Getter channel.
Okay.
And then, because this is kind of too late to fill out for this time.
Okay.
But we'll have another one coming up.
Okay.
Probably in a month.
Mm-hmm. We also have another question from Phước HQ. How can I do pen testing the contract that I wrote with Remix? Total gas consumed if 1,000 transactions sends blah blah blah. In the chat.
Maybe I should read it.
Yes, please.
All right. Maybe I'll stop sharing too. How can I do pen that I wrote? I don't know actually. I can ask the team and get back to you, but I'm not sure what you mean by if 1,000 transactions sends.
Hi Phước, can you speak to clarify your question, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. For example, I want to develop a project, and I don't know what funds I should prepare for the project to go on manage. So, how can how can I do the pen testing to know if we have 1,000 user and we have 1,000 transaction sent per day. So
I see.
how much gas? Yeah. For example.
I mean, you could write a script that will do that, especially on a test net.
Right.
I think that, I mean, you would want to do all this stuff on, yeah, definitely on a test nets, and
Yeah,
probably.
I think it would be cool if Remix have some chart or something like that to represent the analytics.
Yeah, it doesn't, but that would be an interesting plugin for Remix to do.
Yeah, it's just some curiosity of some feature that I
Yeah, that
want.
would be something like, if you could write that up with some details of an example, then I can, and send that an email, or put it as a issue on our GitHub repo. Then we can talk about either see how complicated it would be to make a plugin for Remix that would do something like that.
Yes, I would write issue to your GitHub repo later. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh wait, we don't hear you, Quinn.
Sorry, I just asked, like, is there any question anymore? So yeah, so far we don't have any other question. So like, shall we move to the next part?
Yeah, but it might be good to take a 5-minute break.
Sure. Yes, I think that it's good for everyone to have a search a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
So we will come back on 11:05 or 11. 11.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Please
Thank you.
have a rest for 5 minutes, everyone. Thank you. Hi everyone. So let's go back to the workshop, please. And if you see my screen for now, you're gonna see that, like this is the QR code to scan for the POAP NFT. So actually, ETHVIETNAM community will create the POAP NFT for all the workshop to recognize the contribution or the attendant who join the workshop and also contribute to the community. And after 1 year, we'll look back and we see that who really did join the community and do a lot of contribution to the community. So this is one of the NFT QR code that we doing for this pre-event workshop, which is cost to build on Ethereum with Rob Stupay workshop today on the 2nd of October. So in order to claim your POAP NFT created by ETHVIETNAM, you just use your phone to scan the QR code on the screen that I'm sharing, and then you will download the POAP app. So the next workshop, we continue to do all the NFT for ETHVIETNAM workshop, and you can claim all of these POAP NFT in your account. So please let me know that you can do and claim for the POAP NFT here. Please put in the chat that you have got it. So if you need more time, I will just put for a while here until 11:05, and then after that we go back into the workshop with Rob Stupay. And until the end of the workshop, I will show it again one more time. Is that okay? Everyone can scan it yet? Sorry that I cannot see in the chat because I'm showing the screen. Okay, you need more time. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, for one more minute. And if you cannot scan it for now, no worry. Until the end of the workshop, we still show the QR code one more time for you guys. Okay. Hi, Rob. Are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So please, continue.
Okay. I guess I'll share. Oh, wait, I'm sharing. Okay. What's going on here? Oops. Gotta go like this. Ah, that's why I couldn't see it. It was tab. Okay. I think I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna flip between a little recipe that I had here over here. Maybe I'll put this in the chat if you all want to follow along. Wait, it's over. Where is it? Just a minute. We just did this at ETH Safari as part of it, another workshop there. So I'm just gonna run through this kind of recipe, and then we'll go and try some tutorials on Learneth. So in this one, it's make a new workspace with a default template, change the name of the workspace, change a theme, go to the plugin manager, So a new workspace, change the name, and then go to the plugin manager. So here, first we'll go here. And actually here, I'll deactivate a few things here. And then when you click this button, you get unit testing and static analysis in addition. But and then we'll go to the plugin manager, and we'll make a new workspace, and we'll call this ETHVIETNAM, and then we'll initialize it with the GitHub repo. And then so you got the .git stuff there. So I changed the name. I guess we're going to go to the plugin manager down here. And then I'm not going to bother doing the debugger right now, but I will activate dgit, which is over here. Here, I'll do search here. And then I'm going to activate Learneth. And then I'm going to get rid of that so you can see all the plugins. Okay, so what do we got over here then? Well, I guess I'm going to go through these later on. So I'll skip this step of going through these tutorials. We're going to compile to_owner, and then we're going to compile it with the clue mentioned in this. Oh, that's a shame. Here. We'll compile it, and I'll read that. We'll go back to that one in a second. So we got this one. We got to_owner. We're going to compile it like this. So as you can see, this is where this compiler is getting chosen based on this pragma up here. And if you change this, yeah, this should update. Although if you need to update your compiler by choosing it, it'll come up here. Also, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but if we choose another compiler, this is spinning now because this is loading the compiler. And then if you do it again, it's actually compiling. It should be compiling this file. And then just so you know, this is going to compile. This is to see the compilation details. You get this. And so if you want to see the bytecode or the metadata or the ABI, this is like how it looks like here. But if you want to just copy it to put it in your DApp, you would either copy it there or you'd copy it over here. And if you here, I'm just going to go off script a little bit. So we've compiled it here, and then we want to deploy it. We're just going to, if you publish when you deploy to IPFS, you need to have you have to specify what node you're pushing it to. But if you do this, then it's going to be passively verified because it's going to be publishing your metadata and your source code and your and the deployed contract. And so then the service called Sourcify is going to come and verify your contract passively, which is pretty cool. So you don't actually have to actively verify your contract, but you can do that, and you can do that either in the Sourcify plugin here, which is taking a minute to load, or yeah, you can either fetch a verified contract or you can verify a contract here. Or there's a Etherscan plugin And that will load in a second. And so with this one, you can verify a contract here. You probably need to put in an API key, which you would do over here. Okay. So what else we got? Oh yeah, so we compiled it and we deployed it, and we're gonna deploy it here. Okay, so let's go back to what the recipe said to do. Compile it. Oh yeah, and go to this Twitter link because we have a Did You Know, a Remix Did You Know, and the clue is Control S compiles the active file. So if we're here and it's not the active file and you do Control S, probably nothing's going to happen. But if you go here, Control S, well, I think it actually worked in both situations, but that was just because this one was the last compiled file. Okay, so that was the clue. So that's what that was like a little advertisement that you should subscribe to our Twitter feed, Remix, Ethereum Remix, and then you can get these little clues. Okay, go back over here, and then yeah, let's just go to the documentation of that plugin. So coming down here, you see that, click that, and then it jumps out to the Remix docs. And yeah, it's important to be able to jump back and forth between Remix and the docs. And, you know, like if there's something in here that doesn't make any sense to you, make an issue in Remix and I'll fix it. Because, and the other thing going on is with the documentation is that we're starting to do translations of the documentation. So we're getting French, Spanish, and simplified Chinese, but we can do once the process gets going, which should really be in the next few weeks or month. I think we could open this up to all languages, and it would be great if we could get a version of this in Vietnamese. And what that takes is some contributors to help us with the translations. And we have a platform called Crowdin that we do that through. So we can work with your community further to get Remix translated, or at least the documentation.
Cool. We'll support on that.
Great. Let's see what's going on here. So this one. So back up to here to make it big again. If this, I can also go like, maybe it's more helpful to go like that, just so it's a bit bigger. Let's see. So yeah, there was a little ad for our Medium posts. So interact with the function. Oh yeah, so let's just interact with owner. So we got to change the owner. So I'm going to make that go small again. So we got to grab one of these accounts. But since it got deployed and the message.center is the owner, so only the owner can change it, but we got to change it to another address. So first we're going to copy an address. We're going to stick that address over here. And then we're going to go back to the original one and go back to the first one because only the owner can change the who owns this contract. And then you hit transact, and then it should go through. And then here, let's open up the debugger just to see how that worked. So here's the debugger, and it's opening it up to the state variable is, I guess it's this one, but it's going to change. We'll step through it, and at some point it should change to the new owner. Yeah, it's about to go. Well, it should. What's going on? It's making me look bad. Oh, the new owner. Okay, there's the new owner. Okay. And then at some point that should switch over. So basically, like you can, with this debugger, you can see what the local variables are, the state variable, and then put breakpoints, like you can put a breakpoint over here. And then it will stop there, or you can jump to that breakpoint. And then you can see the lower level things like the memory and stack, things like that. Okay, let's go back to, where is it? Yeah, and deploy. Oh yeah, okay, so we can deploy to another test net. Here, why don't I get Ganache going, and I'll show you that. Here's Ganache. And then if we go to switch this to Ganache, it should connect. Oh, maybe we need to check to make sure that the this is the right what you call it, RPC server. This is 7545. Maybe it had 8545. So when you go to here, Ganache, yeah, putting 8075, and that should solve that problem. And then like the accounts changed, and you get the Ganache accounts over here. And then when you deploy, it's going to go to this custom chain. And what's going on here? Oh, it doesn't have anything to, needs a contract. So we're going to compile that with a, well, right click to get this context menu, compile, and deploy. And then you can, on the Ganache side, you can see that, you know, that account was used. Okay, I'm going back to this recipe. Yeah, we can edit a message to see. Let's do that with the console log. Line 33, it said. So just so we see where this owner's, okay, I mean, doesn't need to be much, just to give you an example. So then we deploy it, so that should come happen. It happens with the constructor. And then we're gonna open this up, and we can't see the bottom like that. Here we go. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Let's try that again. Gonna get rid of these. We're gonna deploy. And it should be over here. That's not good. Owner. Okay, well, let's do it on a another one. Can put it in the going to do a console log over here in the change owner. Change owner. And we'll put the new owner here. Actually, we'll just put it owner. And then we'll console log that. I mean, we'll, sorry, compile that. And then we'll redeploy. And we're going to get rid of everything here. And we're going to deploy it. And then we're going to go to change owner. We're going to choose a different, copy it, go back here, put the new owner there. We're going to change the owner. Wow, I don't see it. Wow. Okay, I don't know. I'm not going to dig further, but I guess it means that I should demonstrate things that I'm more sure about. Going back over here. Just sending, we can make it payable so we can see how to send value to a transaction. Public payable. And then now when we compile, we'll get rid of everything over here. We'll use a shortcut so we don't have to switch back to the Solidity compiler. We're just doing it. Control S, as you can see, it just updated that. Then we're going to deploy it. We're going to switch accounts to like, I don't know, that one, copy it, put it back, go over here. See, now this is red. So we're going to put the new one, new owner, but then up here, we got to switch it to, I don't know, like one, we'll make it go to Ether. And then we're going to change the owner. So now you can see that the balance here is 2 Ether. And that when you open up the transaction receipt, it should say somewhere here that, yeah, this amount of Wei was sent with the contract. Okay, so let's go to Learneth now. Yeah, it's like gonna go through some intro to Solidity, this one. And then this example was to take this introduction file and compile it and deploy it to the JS VM, which is now called the Remix VM. And there's a little like video here of how to do that. But here, I'll just do that now. I'm gonna get rid of this one and deploy it. And then going back to Learneth, you go to the next one. And so in this case, the next Solidity file is opened up in the editor, and make a new contract called my contract, and then make a public string called name. And sending that to Alice. So anyway, I just maybe a little bit tedious to go through too much more of this, but here I'll just show you the answer. And here, this is what the answer is. If I put something else here, like which is basically correct, and I do the check answer, it's gonna say the value is not correct. If I have it correct, it will, it'll say you did a good job. If I don't have anything here, it's probably not gonna even say that I have a. It's gonna say there's some other problem. Yeah. So anyway, and these are all done by doing in the background there's a Solidity test file. And if you're interested in learning how to do unit testing with Solidity, I can go over that a little bit.
Sorry, before going to that, we have one question from Phước HQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phước, can you open mic and then ask directly, please? Anchor, can you open mic for Phước, please? Okay, so I can read in the meantime. So what is the difference between orange function and red function? I noticed that the name is same but different color.
In that case, let's see, go over here. Is it still up? I think I've erased it, but if it's red, it's payable, so that it's the function says has a payable keyword there. And if it's orange, it just means that it's not payable. So that means that it's saving. There's a gas fee associated with running this function. It's saving something to the chain or some operation that is updating the state of the contract. If it's red, it means that you're going to be sending value to the contract, or you can send value to the contract.
Okay, he got the answer. Understood. Thanks a lot.
All right. So wait, let's see, what else should we go through here? Wait, we were looking at Learneth. And then what do we got here? Yeah, so in this case, this one is create some basic types. I don't know. I think it's going to be it's going to be more interesting for you guys to go through this on your own, and because the answers are right here. This is just mostly, updating the code, so it's not anything. This is mostly like learning Solidity than learning Remix. If we go to unit testing in Remix, which is also cool because then you can use that GitHub action. You could generate a sample file, and also by going through the unit testing documentation, you can get a sense of how this will work. But basically, you can import accounts, and the accounts will have Ether associated with them, or charged with Ether, and you can do your normal asserts, and by sending you can set with this net spec comments here, or these comments here, you can send value to the contract. And then, so you can run these. In this case, it's going to be variable. Let's see, is it going to run this one? Variable test, right. I didn't need it to run the ballot test, so I could have turned that off. And if we click that, it's going to go right to the error message, or what the assert was that failed. And so then that's the quick tour of the unit testing. And another one I like here is, especially like when working on a hackathon and helping, it's nice to be able to explain your functions to your collaborators. And so there's the what's it called? It's called documentation generator. And so in this case, it takes the last compiled. What's going on here? Oh, there. There. You should be able to take the last compiled. Where is it? Oh, we need to get the generator. Should take the last compiled compilation and turn it into a UML drawing. And why isn't it doing that? Here, I'm going to close some tabs here. Variable test. Wait, let's try it again. So we're going to go back to here. We're going to get the owner. We're going to compile it. Got this. Counter owner documentation. Well, another instance of Rob trying to code something on the fly that's not working smoothly. Maybe we need the documentation viewer. This is the generator, and then there should be the viewer, but they should. Doc viewer. Okay, so we're going to go back over here. We're going to go here. Okay. So in this case, like you can see the diagram of the functions, and then you can go over your functions just to go over the function signatures with your people you're working with and construct your smart contract, by stubbing it in like this. And I think that's really about it. Unless you have other questions, I can go through some other plugins. Or we can go further into Learneth. It depends if that was compelling enough to watch. So if you want me to go through more of the Learneth tutorials, let me know. Or we can discuss anything else we want to.
Hello guys, so we have two options now. Like we can go deeper for the tutorial, or we can have the Q&A. So far, I don't see any other question for now, Rob.
Okay. So why don't we go through the next tutorial? Why don't I go through like a NFT tutorial?
Yes, please.
Okay. So go back to this one, leave that tutorial, close that, NFT tutorial. So this is kind of introducing the standard. Well, so I think it's going to be, what is it? It's why are blockchain-based tokens revolutionary? Because people can now make investments anonymously because they represent ownership in digital assets that can be owned and transferred. You can use a token to make transactions without having to pay taxes. Well, it looks like it's number 2 for question 1. And for question 2, why did the community create token standards? So that the community can control and approve the tokens that are created in order to restrict the functionality of tokens to safe and non-malicious actions, and so that the community can create tokens that are interoperable with other contracts, products, and services. I believe it's number 3. And question 3 is if you would create a decentralized application for a baseball trading card game where each player would be represented by a token, what standard would you use? I think it would be, since they're individuals and not, you would use 721, so it's a 2. And let's see if I got this right. Okay. This goes into the interface and the balance of and the owner of and safe transfer and all the other functions that are involved in the 721 standard. So this is just kind of describing, what's going on with these import statements of the IRC interface ERC 165, and explains why that needs to be there. And you need to have the metadata file to do this. So that's right, yeah. So in this case, the metadata file is going to be pointing to the properties of this file, and also to the location of the digital asset. So we're going to create this my token, and then you need to have the base URI. And then it's storing the data on IPFS. So if we look at this one, like what happens here, we'll just copy that and make a new tab. So this is going to be the folder on IPFS, essentially where these digital assets are. And then this is the next level of metadata that explains that the image is over here. Sorry, so this is the collection, and these are the elements of the collection. And the collection includes, this is like the first one of the collection, and that's going to be the image associated with it. So if we take this, and that's the image, the first image is image zero, since it's a zero-based array, but you know, this of course could be anything. It's just that this is just for the example. Here we can make this wider. Okay, and rename the contract to geometry. And rename the token to geometry. And it should be geo instead of that. And change the base URL to this. Get rid of that period. Okay, does that work? And the answer is, dun, dun, dun. Huh. Didn't like that. Let's see what the answer should be. Looks like it's the same. Oh, I'm going to try it again. And then if it doesn't work, I'm just going to copy it over. Maybe I missed a little. Could be the connection timed out. Okay. Well, I'm going to go over here again. Whoops. I'm going to copy that. And then we're going to paste it over here. Check, see if that works. I imagine it won't work, but we'll see. Maybe it's going to time out again. Yeah, it timed out. Okay. Okay, so then we'll go to the next one. And this is for setting up the metadata file. We need to have an account on Pinata to do this. And then you, and it's not going to test your files because this is telling you to upload some stuff to IPFS. And I'm not sure that's going to be so interesting to do that now, but maybe we can wing it. Let's see. I'm not sure if my account is set up right now on IPFS in a way that's going to be, I mean, on Pinata. What is it? Pinata.cloud. Gonna do it easily or not? Nah, it's gonna be a pain. Oh well, I'm not gonna bother. But basically, here are the instructions, and then by uploading to IPFS through Pinata, then you can have your you can upload your images and then set up your JSON files in this format, and then upload the JSON format files to IPFS as well. Because once you get the once you upload the images to IPFS, then you can fill in the image URI over here, and you know, get the next token together so that the collection will have 3 tokens associated with it. And then you deploy it to a test net, and once the token is deployed and minted, then you can actually see your token on OpenSea. I think that's good enough. Any more questions?
Wow, that's great. Well, actually, I also like can follow like how to do like NFT on that on Remix for now. Is any question, guys? Like so far, like you guys can follow. I think that Rob, like he explained like very easily to follow, very clear. So like, is any question? You guys can chat in the chat, or you also like can raise your voice, and we have the Q&A session for now. So actually, we have to go like 3 parts. The first part, like what is Remix? Second, what's news? And the third, the tutorial. And then if you have any question you can raise for now. I really wish that, like next time we also like can have more interaction and how to show the screen of the attendant. Maybe it's easier also like for the mentor can follow a bit, right? And I know that it's also very late for you, Rob. We really thank you very much for your time. I think it is 2 a.m. there.
No, almost 1.
Okay. Yeah, but it's still very, very late. Thank you very much for your time. So like, I don't see that like right now we have any other question for now.
Maybe next year I can make it there in person. It'd be great.
Yes, please. We really hope also like can meet you in person in Vietnam. Also like we can have more network and connection and more workshop in person if we can come to Vietnam later, and we can do the dev community get together and meet up here in Vietnam.
Oh, I do have a question for the group.
Yes, please.
Are people, what networks do people are using a lot? I hear like Avalanche is popular there, but are there other chains that people like to use besides normal, mainnet or testnets?
So you asked like what is a popular change that Vietnamese dev using, right?
Yeah, or people in the workshop today, like what chains do people typically deploy to?
Yeah, so I get back to our group. So guys, like, can you share like what change you normally use? Let me see in the chat if I can see it.
BSC and Polygon.
Yeah. Actually, when I work with project, like, I see that like in Vietnam use a lot of Binance change. Especially in Vietnam right now, also like a lot of GameFi projects, so they see that it's cheaper also. But we hope that, you know, like with all of the workshop that we focus on view on Ethereum, we also can inspire more dev, you know, to view on Ethereum. And then guys, like also after this workshop, also like in October, we have another workshop with mentor from Ethereum Foundation about the gas market and the fee on 20 October. So keep it up. Do you have any other question for the team today?
Me, no. And if the audience or participants have questions for me, let me know.
Okay. So right now we don't see any other question. So thank you very much, Rob, for spending the late Saturday night and sharing the knowledge with us. And we really, really appreciate it. And we also hope that after this, like we also can connect the team, the dev community. If they have any other question, they also like, you know, join the Discord and ask more question with you there. And
yeah. Oh, here. Just by the way, I'll put I'll share the Discord.
Yes, please.
Link. Wait. Just a second. The public Discord is Ethereum/remix for Discord. Sorry, Getter.
Yeah, please send in the group chat, please. And guys, like on the screen, like you see my screen, right? We also have the survey QR code. Can you scan it and then just like spend only like 1 minute to do the survey? So let us know like what we can do better for the next coming workshop, please. Can you scan it on the screen for now? And then after this survey, I will one more time like do the NFT for ETHVIETNAM POAP, the QR code after this.
I believe this is our Medium publication. Just a second.
And then after this workshop, we also like send the email to summarize and send the link of the workshop with the video. So if you want to rewatch the workshop, you can rewatch it anytime. And also like if you want to see other workshop, you can go to ETHVIETNAM YouTube or Dora Hack. You also can check the videos of the workshop. And for the slide, we will also send in the email letter to let you save and keep it and rewatch it anytime you want. So please scan for the survey for now, and then have us to let us know your feedback, please. And then for anyone who wants to claim for the POAP NFT from ETHVIETNAM, here's the link and here's the QR code. So Rob, like, what is your suggestion after this workshop? How to guide them to also like follow up and learn more about what is the link and what is the way that for the dev committee they can follow up after this?
Well, you can contact me directly at rob@ethereum.org.
Yes.
Just send me email. You can ask questions on our Getter channel or Discord. If you have questions about this presentation or anything in Learneth, yeah, you should contact me directly. What else? That's basically it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
And
send you the contact.
yeah, and maybe I can, and I'll follow up with you all more about the next beta testing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Also, like if you guys like want to update more workshop information, please follow and join the ETHVIETNAM community on the Telegram or Discord. We will update all the information there. I think that's it for today. We also wrap up like 2-hour workshop with Rob Stupay for this morning. Thank you very much, Rob, for your sharing, and also thank you guys for spending 2 hours with us and joining the workshop. If you have any question, also like can contact us or Rob Stupay directly, and then after this we will have other like activities to follow up with the beta version. Is that okay? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, Rob.
Thank you. Night or good morning.
Have
Bye.
a good day. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So right now I see that like 16 people claim on the NFT. If you need some moment also, I just leave it here for a while.